Clean up the house?
Yeah.
Okay. Colin, your list.
I agree on
This
that.
is all good. I know we went over it prior to Mr. A coming in, but go ahead.
Relax, financial independence, retire early.
Ho, 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 ho. Where'd you get to retire early from? Where'd you get that from?
Uh,
The first class we took, right? Now, what was the acronym for that? It was FIRE, correct? You remember what FIRE stood for?
yeah, financial independence and
Retire early. It's FIRE. Financial independence, retire early. He picked that up from the first class. Though, you're a smart guy. He picked that, and that's something that nobody, because you guys were in the first class, so we went really, really in depth on our first couple of weeks, and that was retiring early. You know, if you guys are not familiar with the workforce, you work 25 to 30 years before you're considered eligible to retire, right? And that's just by a lot of company standards. You know, 25 to 30 retirement. Remember I told you, sometimes you guys get a nice card and a plaque, and that'll be it. If you're your own boss and you're successful at 28, 29, you retire then, as opposed to 60, 65. Some people retiring at 70. Some people don't make it to retirement. They die before them because the job is so stressful or their body just gives out. But if you write your own job, you write your own will, you're able to retire when you want. You're able to go on vacation when you want. You're able to set your own salary. You're able to hire who you want. This is the control that you have when you're an entrepreneur. You give up that control when you decide you're going to work for somebody else. Remember, you can work years and years and years for somebody else. And on your last day at that job, they will tell you how great it has been to have you aboard. And all the work you have done well. Just to turn around, give you a plaque, take a picture with you, shake your hand, send you on your merry way. Now, do you think that would suffice for 30 years of labor? How would you feel walking out? That's why you got a handshake, a picture, and a plaque. After 30 years of labor.
like happy.
You would feel happy? Disappointed. But how can you control that? How can you reverse that? What can you do to reverse that?
Working for yourself.
Work for yourself. Work for yourself. I'm gonna retire tomorrow. I'll retire tomorrow. Then I'll come out of retirement next week if I want. These are the things that you're able to do as an entrepreneur. Now let's name a few. Name some of the ones that you named earlier that are very, very successful. If you guys name some good ones. Boss man, name some of the entrepreneurs.
Um, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Now Styles. David Musk. And tell everybody what is he responsible for.
He's responsible for
Speak up.
like collaborating with other games to invent their own stores so they can sell.
Izzy.
Steve Jobs.
Ken.
Jeff Bezos.
Colin. Zuckerberg, yeah, correct. J2. I'll come back to you. Vlad.
Bill Gates.
Now, if you guys know these guys and you study them and you watch them, you read about them, wouldn't you want to beat them one day? Be honest, wouldn't you want to beat them?
Yeah.
But it's not going to come without hard work. You have to give up that fear of stepping out. If you can't give up that fear of stepping out, you will all be prisoner to yourself. Okay, you have to say, and it's scary being an entrepreneur. Name some of the we named all the pros. Name some of the cons of being an entrepreneur.
You can mess up and ruin everything.
You can ruin everything.
You can get affected by the negative energy.
I was looking for some of the cons of being an entrepreneur. You flop. Nobody buys your product. You don't have enough capital to get started. Nobody believes in you. Your bills are due, you have no way to pay them. Remember, as an entrepreneur, you give up the right to receive a what? A check. He knows a lot of this stuff, I told it to him already. You don't get a check when you're an entrepreneur. You can't go to the mailbox and check the check in. You didn't work. You told everybody, I'm my own boss. So your check comes in when you go to work. You gave up that right to go to the mailbox and look for your check or check their direct deposit. Because you haven't put in hours anywhere but for yourself. So when you give up that right, it's scary. Because you don't know when your next meal is coming from. But if you work hard, and you get out there and you bust your hump, and you put the work in, and you study, you do what you gotta do, you research, you can be successful. You have to give up the fear though. It's scary. It's definitely scary not knowing where your next check coming from, or if you're gonna get one. But look at the pros to it though. Look at the pros. Vacation when you want. Hire who you want. Retire when you want. Financially secure. And these are not just the successful ones. There's a lot of guys you haven't named. There's a lot of entrepreneurs you haven't named who are financially comfortable. A lot of them. A lot of them. You guys are naming the big dogs. But there's a guy. How many guys are familiar with franchising a restaurant? You know what a franchising restaurant is? I'm gonna give you an example. There's a minority. Why would we use the word minority? We don't use what? We don't use color. There's a minority that owns a Chick-fil-A on Route 40, right? He has to gross no less than $100,000 a month. When I'm telling you the line, I mean everybody knows Chick-fil-A. I didn't even know he was a minority until one day I went in there and he happened to be in there. They gross over $100,000 a month. How many months in a year? 12. If you gross $100,000 a month, how much is that in 1 year? No. Who's that in? 1.2 million. And I'm just, some months it could be more than 100,000, some months it could be less. But at least they're grossing $100,000 a month. Nobody knows his name. Because he's not on the cover of a magazine, because he's not on the news, because he's not on the internet.